If you grew up in New England and you are a baseball fan, you know about the legends.
The swing needs no introduction. It's that of the Red Sox.
And the legendary moments. And you certainly know a whole lot about Fenway Park, New England's living room, the home of the Boston Red Sox, and the scene of some monster home runs.
Its name, but there's a monster at Fenway and sure has earned its fame. That walk can give and the walk can take away. It'll break your heart or it'll make your day. And that's all she wrote. Now there are players that no one can forget. Those home run heroes, the airborne cadets. There's Yasmis and Williams, Canigliaro and Bond, those heavy hitting wonders, and the list goes on.
Every kid that comes there, you see them on the front row, and that's the first thing they see is the monster. It's really neat to watch people's reaction. But every kid, I think, definitely, would love to get up to home plate and take a crack at it.
Awesome! Look at the green monster. I think I can hit a home run over that. Yeah, right. In your dreams.
Now batting for the Boston Red Sox, the designated dreamer, Joe Kidd.
Of course, I think that's the greatest accomplishment in sports when you hit a home run, because hitting a baseball coming at 95 miles an hour is very difficult to do.
The pride that you take in it, the excitement of it.
That was one ball that I'll always remember hitting it.
When a round ball meets a round bat perfectly, there's just a feel.
Oh my goodness, look where this one's going.
And I hit it just right, and I'll never forget how that one felt.
Boom, there it was.
And it just feels effortless.
Goodbye, baseball, home run.
So the ball just jumps off your back.
In the air in left field, it's gone!
And when you look back up, especially in a night game, you look right into the light, and it blinds you for a second.
High drive, left field, forget it.
When you get the ball good, you know what's going out.
There goes another one. Look at it.
35,000 people here, all screaming for the Hawk. 35,000. Hawk, you're the greatest. Well, I'm the most surprised son gun in the whole ballpark.
All those batting practice strokes, all that work you've done, it's worth for that one time.
The ultimate. Seeing that ball hit a long way. It's a big thrill to a fan to follow it into the stand.
First names only will suffice for home run heroes Ted and Carl. Numbers 8 and 9 in your program are joined by Jim, Dewey, and Mo as Red Sox home run heroes.
And that's all she wrote.
In the late 1930s, Boston did not have a skyline and Fenway did not have bullpens in right field. Fenway received a facelift in 1940 when the bullpens in right field were constructed. The area was immediately dubbed Williamsburg. For the target practice, it would provide Red Sox phenom Ted Williams, in time to be known as the Kid, the Splendid Splinter, and Teddy Ballgame. He was obsessed with hitting and brashly stated that his goal was to have people walk down the street and say about him, "There goes the greatest hitter who ever lived." Every day presented an opportunity for him to perfect his science of hitting. So he innovated, worked, and tweaked it to a fare thee well.
As rookies, we all lived over here on Bay State Road, and Ted had a mirror in his room, and he'd say, "Well, we're in Detroit, 2 men on, bottom of the 8th." He says, "Boy, the old kid's gonna rip one," and and he always looked to see how he finished his swing and how he started his swing.
If a young pitcher come into the league, why, he would go to somebody that had hit against the pitcher, and he'd ask him questions about how fast he was, if he had a sinker ball, what kind of a curveball, 3/4 overhand. And when he walked up to hit that pitcher, he knew exactly what he was going to look at the first time at bat, where most all the rest of us, we'd have to see a guy maybe 2 or 3 times to, "Oh, this guy got a pretty good sinker ball." And he come up with the idea of using olive oil and rosin, which was a kind of a sticky substance. And now, of course, they use the pine tar, but all little percentage that he could figure out why Ted would use them.
He had a philosophy about exercising his fingers and his arms. And he would come into the clubhouse after a game, whether it was a single game or sometimes on double headers. Come into the clubhouse after the game, and actually before he got out of uniform, he would put his toes on the stool and his fingers on the floor and do push-ups. At least 100, it seemed to us, he would kept going on forever.
The Yankees in particular would walk behind the batting cage, and they'd all be throwing the ball, warming up. And of course, when Williams got in the box, they stopped and watched, and he didn't let them down. He'd put on a great show for the opposition, and he hit peas all over the place.
Ted Williams hit more home runs than any player in Red Sox history and is near the top of the list in Major League history. But it wasn't the number, the rank, or how far they went, but the flair for the dramatic home run for which Ted Williams will be remembered. He played in a day when ball players left their gloves on the field and when people listened to the All-Star game on radio. Those listening in 1941 heard Williams come to the plate in the Midsummer Classic and hit a classic game-winning home run with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th.
Hitting that home run in 41, and that was complete elation. Happiness, jumping up and down, and boom, boom, boom.
Yes, hitting that home run in the All-Star game in the 9th inning was certainly a big thrill, and I'll never forget the rest of my life.
Like many other ball players, including Johnny Pesky, Williams put down his bat for World War II. For 3 years, in the prime of his career, the bat of the great Williams was silenced.
It was our country and patriotism and all those things that were involved. I never felt bad about those years because a lot of great players were there too.
He returned from the war for the 1946 season with a typical Williams statement, a home run in the first game. Per the script, the 1946 All-Star game was played in Boston. After batting practice, Williams spoke with National League and Pittsburgh pitcher Rip Sewell. Sewell had mastered a pitch called the ephus, which traveled in an arc some 30 feet above home plate. Only once had the ephus been hit for extra bases. Williams told Sewell he hoped to take a whack at it. In the 4th inning, the Boston crowd roared its approval as Williams homered off Brooklyn Dodger pitcher Kirby Higbee. The game turned into a full-fledged rout, and then the fun began. The American League was up 8-0 in the 8th inning. Rip Sewell was on the mound and with 2 outs intentionally walked a batter to let Williams have his whack at the ephus.
It was a pitch that he'd step and then he'd throw high. It had tremendous trajectory. I've never seen a pitch like it. The most phenomenal part of it was he got it over the plate. He could drift it down and get a strike with it. And nobody hit a home run on it. And he came into the All-Star game, and we American Leaguers were all talking about it. And he threw that pitch to me, and the first one was just a ball, and I really got that thing timed good because it was floating up there at me. And then he threw another one, and I swung for my heels and happened to hit it just right.
On July 14, 1946, in the first game of a doubleheader against Cleveland, Ted hit 3 home runs in an 11-10 Red Sox win. For the second game, Indians manager Lou Boudreau instituted a shift, similar to the one used later by the St. Louis Cardinals in the 1946 World Series, in which the right side of the field was stacked in odds that did not favor Williams. In that 46 World Series, Williams astounded everyone when he dropped a bunt toward third base. But as a rule, Ted Williams did not fight the shift. Not that he couldn't, like the time he lofted one over it against the Yankees' Don Larson. He simply refused to.
There's no question that Ted could hit the left field. I know that for an absolute fact because he could do it any time he wanted to. In fact, one day there was a loudmouthed guy out in left field who was on Ted unmercifully. So Ted, on his last time at bat, he thought here was a good time to try to get even. So he kept hitting foul ball after foul ball after foul ball into the left field bleachers. And I'm telling you, he didn't miss the guy by very much on a few of them. And I think he hit something like 14 pitches in the left field stands. So it wasn't because he couldn't hit to left field. It was because he chose not to.
I must admit that for a long time, I was a little stubborn about hitting the right field, and the left field, and why wouldn't I be? I've been a .350 hitter for 12 years that way. Just because I don't spread them around, if I can still do it one way, why, I don't think you should criticize that.
No, that's true.
I think, you can say a fighter, he only knocks them out. He doesn't win decisions. Why, he still wins.
In 1952, a pregame ceremony was held at Fenway Park as Ted Williams entered the service, fighting for his country again, this time in the Korean conflict. He would be away from baseball for 2 more years. Naturally, he did not leave town quietly, as described at the time by Red Sox broadcaster Curt Gowdy.
This is his last time at bat before donning the Marine uniform. He'll be handling a different kind of stick in the future, the stick of a jet fighter plane, and there he is connecting with a home run on his last time at bat. That's a dramatic way to say goodbye, Ted, and smooth flying to you.
That would not be the last time Gowdy would call a home run in his last at-bat for Ted Williams. Per the script once again, Williams saved the best for last, September 30th, 1960.
I came into the park, and I came through the gate into the locker room. As I walked through, this was about 2.5 hours before the game, Johnny Orlando, the clubhouse boy, "Hey, Curt, come here." So I went over and he said, "Listen, don't say anything, but this is the kid's last game ever." I said, "What do you mean? We have a series in New York to end the season." Well, he's got one of those heavy colds, that bug he got in Korea, and Yaki and Cronin have told him to go ahead and this is it, and he doesn't have to go to New York. So I said, okay. So we got into the game, and he came up, and there were about 300,000 people at the game that day. At least I've had that many tell me they were there. There were really only 10 or 11,000. It was a gray, cold day.
The first pitch was a ball, and then the next pitch was a fastball that I really should have lost, and I swung. Boy, and I couldn't believe it. I never made contact. And, you know, I never failed to know whether I was ahead or behind or underneath or something. And that ball absolutely flabbergasted me because I had a great cut at it, and I couldn't believe I'd missed it, and I didn't know where I'd missed it. And that was worrying me. And Fisher can't wait to get another ball. Let's go. I can throw right by this guy. And I could sense all of that.
1 out, nobody on, last of the 8th inning. Jack Fisher into his windup. Here's the pitch. Williams swings, and there's a long drive to deep right. That ball is going, and it is gone. A home run for Ted Williams in his last time at bat in the Major League.
I forgot what I promised Johnny Orlando. I wouldn't say anything about it. So as Williams circled the bases, he came on in and ducked into the dugout, and they all stood and applauded. And John Updike, I think, wrote the greatest sports article I've ever read in the New Yorker magazine. He said, "Gods don't answer letters." And Williams never answered the fans' plea to come back and take a bow and tip his hat.
He finished with 521 career home runs and a lifetime batting average of .344. He had been known as the Kid, the Splendid Splinter, and Teddy Ball Game for 22 years. But history will know him as the greatest hitter who ever lived. If Williamsburg is an apt name in honor of a certain batter's favorite piece of real estate, then it is fitting that the right field foul pole carries the name of Johnny Pesky. As indisputable as a home run ball that strikes it, it is equally indisputable that its namesake is the grand man of the Red Sox. Johnny Pesky has been with the team as a coach, manager, and player for parts of 6 decades. Teammate turned broadcaster Mel Parnell was somehow impressed enough with the 6 home run ball's pesky hook near the right field foul pole that he gave it a name, Pesky's Pole.
Right field, down near the pole, and hooking right on the top of the pole for a home run. Bill Buck.
I came up and signed with the Red Sox in November of '58. And it was snow on the ground, and I was standing up in the stands looking over the ballpark, and all I could remember was the right field wall, how long it was. I wasn't looking at left field because I was a left-hand hitter at the time, and I can remember my dad standing beside me. He says, "You can really hit in this ballpark, there's no doubt about that." And I had just finished working out in Yankee Stadium in Detroit, where they had short right field porches, and I kind of looked at him and wondered to myself, you know, what's he looking at?
Carl Yastrzemski spent countless hours throughout his 23-year career analyzing his swing on films. As the highly touted heir apparent to Ted Williams, it was mandatory that he hit for average and power.
Hitting home runs in Fenway Park was very, very difficult for me. I didn't enjoy playing in Fenway in April, May, and September. I much rather enjoy playing on the road. That 380 to right field was like 420, 430. With the wind blowing in. And as I said, the only person that I knew that could hit it out against that wind was Ted Williams.
In each of his first 5 Major League seasons, Yaz never hit more than 20 home runs. And then came the magical year of 1967. The Red Sox were 100-to-1 shots to win the American League pennant. More than anybody, Yastrzemski kept them in the race.
Out of here. Home run, number 41 for Yastrzemski.
They couldn't pitch around Carl. They tried to pitch around him at times. He'd still hit the ball out of the ballpark. I can remember a number of pitchers trying to keep the ball low to him, below the knees, and he'd gulf one out. Another time they tried to throw him up high to try to walk him, and he'd hit a ball out. I mean, eye high. It was just incredible. Every time he swung the bat, he was so aggressive. He really became a home run hitter that year.
The Minnesota Twins' Harmon Killebrew was the premier home run hitter of the time, and Yaz was there, battling him for the home run championship.
Mercy. There it is, over everything.
On the next to last day of the season, the Red Sox needed a win over Killebrew's Twins to keep their impossible dream alive.
Deep to right field. Number 44.
It was Yastrzemski's 44th home run of the season, which tied him for the league lead with Killebrew. More importantly, it put the Red Sox in position to clinch the American League pennant the next day. Before the season began, there were no indications that the Red Sox would be celebrating an American League pennant, and there were no indications that Carl Yastrzemski would post Triple Crown numbers, including 44 home runs.
43, I think, meant something. Maybe one home run he hit while we were ahead 10-0. But he was, yeah, they were all meaningful home runs, and usually knocked in 1 or 2 runs. Beside, you know, I don't think he hit that many solo home runs.
I didn't know the next day until I won the Triple Crown, because every at bat, every concentration was on how can I win the ball game, and I wasn't thinking about winning the Triple Crown. If we were not in the pennant race up to the last day, which we had to win that ball game, I don't think I would have won the Triple Crown, because you'd been concentrating on it as a personal thing, and I never really did well when I had to concentrate on personal accomplishments.
We were playing in the World Series, and I think it was the 6th game, and they bring in this left-hander to pitch to Yaz, Joe Horner. And he was down in here, was a short armor, and he really threw hard. So they bring him in to pinch hit, and he comes over, I'm on the on-deck circle, and he says, "You know this guy?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "He's hard sinker, hard slider." I said, "He's sneaky, Carl." He said, "Well, that's not good enough." I said, "What do you want from me?" You know, he said, "Well, let's go over and see what I got in the scouting book." So we go over there, and Sal Magley was in the dugout, and Frank Malzone had been scouting the Cardinals. So we're going through the book there, all of a sudden they get to Horner, says, starts all left-handers off a low fastball. Carl says, "That's what I want to know." Just like that. I mean, that matter of fact. He said, "That's what I want to know." Well, Horner threw him a low fastball down over the plate. I'm telling you, this guy was really tough.
Horner pitches, and Yastrzemski really ties into this one. It's a way back.
And Carl hit it about 15 rows up in those bleachers out there. He'd never seen this guy. And I'll never forget, I'm on the on-deck circle, and I'm standing like this, and I'm watching him go around first, and he got about halfway between first and second. I said, if that's what it takes to be a great hitter, I'll never get there.
Carl Yastrzemski had back-to-back 40 home run seasons in 1969 and 1970. He had become a genuine home run threat.
There, a long shot to right field, up, and it is gone. A home run for Kyle Yastrzemski.
For my size, I'm surprised, and not being particularly a home run hitter my first 6 years, just being a singles hitter and doubles hitter. Yes, and I could have been a lot higher if I played in Yankee Stadium or Detroit or any other ballpark besides Fenway.
He supported that theory with 2 days' worth of evidence in 1976.
Yes, it's a deep drive to right field. Going back is Staub at the track, and it's gone. 1-1. Hit to left center field. Johnson going back, way back, and this is out of here. And here's a deep drive right field. Staub going back. It's gone in the upper deck. Kyle Yastrzemski has hit his third home run of the ball game. Fly ball right field. Velez near the barrier. It's a home run. And yes, he's really putting it on for him. He just stood there, watched it, and did not move until it hit the seat. There's the drive deep to right field. Back goes Munson. Get a home run! All right.
A record-tying 5 home runs in 2 days. Over the next 3 seasons, he inched closer and closer to career home run number 400. In 1979, it looked as if he would reach the milestone in one of those 2 cities, Detroit or New York. Number 398 came in Detroit. 399 would come in New York on the last day of June. And then suddenly, the drive to 400 came to a standstill for 25 days.
He had hit some balls, I believe, prior to that, not just that night, but leading up to this home run that were real close. Warning track, and you thought it was gone, and they were caught, or they were off the wall, or whatever. So he just quite couldn't get over that hump.
I think when you're trying to accomplish something personally, it's a little difficult, especially when you're not involved in a pennant race.
All right, we're out at Fenway Park, and Kyle Yastrzemski is coming up for his 4th appearance at the plate. We want to remind you we are shifting away just for Yastrzemski's appearances at the plate as a public service. When his turn at the plate is done, we switch you back without having missed a scene. Yastrzemski so far tonight has singled in a run, walked, and flied to right. We're following him in his quest for home run number 400. Long drive, right field, way back, near the wall, and there it is! Home run number 400, Kyle Yastrzemski. Now, listen and watch. Number 400 has been hit by Kyle Yastrzemski, and watch him. Up everywhere at Fenway Park. What a milestone for this guy. They're going to call for him again. They want a curtain call for Kyle Yastrzemski. They won't going to let him alone, Hawk. So, and there he is. There's the moment. He said he wanted to get it done, and he did. And he didn't pull it into the screen. He put it into the bullpen in right field, and not only that, he put the Red Sox ahead.
Kyle Yastrzemski had become the first player in American League history to have 400 home runs and 3,000 hits. He would finish his career with 452 home runs, second in Red Sox history to Ted Williams, the man he replaced. It turns out Kyle Yastrzemski's father knew best. He could hit in Fenway Park. When Billy Consolo hit a home run for the Red Sox in 1953, he became, at the age of 18, the youngest player to hit one out of Fenway. The honor of being the oldest goes to Kyle Yastrzemski. The captain hit his last at the age of 44.
Into the stands for a home run.
Consider that Bob Montgomery was 38 when he homered in an old-timers game in 1982.
And go! Oh, muddy.
And Rico Petrocelli homered in the 1986 old-timers game at the age of 42.
Shot into the screen. Boy, that takes you right back 10 years, 12 years.
Nothing provokes fear like brute strength. Over his 16 years with the Red Sox, Jim Rice was one of the most feared batters in all of baseball. He was strong enough to hammer the ball out of every park, and did.
There's a drive out to left field, and it's gone. Home run for Jim Rice, high up into the bleachers. And the Red Sox take a 3-0 lead.
And that ball was really hit maybe 2 rows from all the way from going out of this ballpark, Dick. That had to be close to 500 feet, that ball he hit just there.
Just because we're strong, just because we have muscles, doesn't mean we're going to hit a home run.
There it goes, way out of here. A grand slam home run.
Even the bench was in awe after a Rice blast.
Jimmy would always talk to Jimmy, what'd you hit? And Jimmy would say, curveball. And you look at the replay, it was a fastball. And I'd always talk about it, but Jimmy would just say, I just tried to hit the ball. And that's probably the easiest way to go about it.
He had strength, there's no doubt about that, but also he had bat speed, he had quickness. I saw him check swings and snap bats.
It was sort of like a no call. You know, the umpire didn't know what to say.
Rice was the hottest player in baseball from 1977 through 79 when he averaged 41 home runs a season. His favorite target was the American League's best pitcher, Jim Palmer of the Baltimore Orioles. Rice went deep 9 times against the future Hall of Famer.
Forget it. Tie ball game. Over everything.
I told him that, but he didn't believe me. So happened he's here today, but he didn't believe it. I had a good time with Ron Gidger, too. You had a lot of guys that when I played, they would just tell you, so look, I got my best stuff today, I'm coming at you.
3 times he was the American League home run champion with a personal best of 46 in 1978. In that season, he also became the first American leaguer to top 400 total bases for a season, since Joe DiMaggio did it 41 years earlier. He was the American League most valuable player. Jim Rice, 3rd in Red Sox home run history with 382.
And look at the Red Sox great Jimmy Rice at home plate.
He never hit more than 34 home runs in a season. The one time he was an American League home run champion was in 1981, a strike-shortened season, and even then he shared the title with 4 other players. He was often overshadowed by teammates who managed to have slightly better home run years. All Dwight Evans did was hit home runs consistently for 19 years.
Home run, and the Red Sox have tied it in the 9th.
Everyone thinks this ballpark is a right-handed hitter's ballpark. There's very few right-handers that have had batting titles in this ballpark, or it's a left-handed hitter's ballpark. If this park was in reverse, as far as I'm concerned, it would have been my favorite place to play.
Evans rifled some long bombs for sure.
Long shot, high and deep into left field. Goodbye, baseball. Home run over everything.
But if statistics were kept for the most times a ball just cleared the monster, Evans would be the hands-down leader, and not because he laced home runs that were less than honorable. He either whistled line shots that barely made it over the wall,
There's a long shot to left field. Stay fair. If it's hit, it's a home run.
or walloped moon shots that went way over it.
High drive, left field. Forget it. Over everything for a home run.
For myself, this wall hurt me more than helped me. And I can remember hitting some of the hardest balls I ever hit, hitting a foot or 2 feet from going out, and you're standing on first base with a single.
Long drive to left field. They won't handle this one. Up into the net for Dwight Evans, and is he hot with that home run try?
Dwight Evans, 4th on the Red Sox home run parade with 379. Dwight Evans was a very serious home run hitter. Any emotions he had about hitting them seemed to be private ones. Only once was there any clowning around.
When I hit a home run to win a ball game or late in the game, that to me is the ultimate. That's what it's all about. But this particular game in Seattle, we had the rally caps going, and I didn't know anything about this, and You know, Clemens coming out of college. We had a few college players on us. They turned the caps inside out and put them on backwards and trying different things. And Seattle's doing the same thing on the other side when their team is up.
Somehow we got mixed up with their guys on the bench. Randy Johnson, those guys were over there, and you know, we had the rally cap thing started, and it went from rally cap to, I think it ended with, we had shaving cream and cups on our ears.
Deep to left field, way back to the wall, Leonard. It is gone. Wake up, New England. Dwight Evans, his 11th home run of the season. Runs batted in, 50 and 51.
There is a buzz in the air when Mo Vaughn comes to bat at Fenway Park. The buzz began in 1991 when he cracked his first Major League home run.
That is a bomb down the right field line, way back and way out of here.
He nearly became only the second player ever to rock one out of Baltimore's Memorial Stadium.
Just made some contact. I really didn't know what I was doing. The ball carried, you know, almost out of the whole stadium.
He may not have known what he was doing then, but he certainly does now. His home run numbers have grown in leaps and bounds, as has the legend of Mo Vaughn.
First Fenway Park home run for Mo Vaughn. Now Vaughn sends one way back. Oh, almost into the Hard Rock Cafe. It looked like it hit the sign that said Humpty Dumpty, or maybe even above that. You see where that fan is pointing. It was above the Humpty Dumpty sign. If Humpty Dumpty was sitting there, he would have been knocked off the wall.
I wish somebody would mic him at the plate. He lets out a burst of air or energy from his stomach or somewhere. He growls and grunts and just grinds those balls out of here, you know. And I wonder what the catcher or the umpire thinks.
It's kind of like letting everything that I have, you know, unleash on that pitch. And usually when I catch it right, then I'm going to do that. You know, I know I've hit the ball real well.
Vaughn became the man in the middle with his 39 home run MVP season in 1995. His on-the-field credentials were well known in Boston, where he has also developed a strong presence off the field that could never be measured in statistics. At the Mo Vaughn Youth Development Foundation in Dorchester, he helps young people realize their potential in life. And he has also let his bat do some talking in the name of helping others.
I got a call from Mike Andrews asking if, who's the executive chairman of the Jimmy Fund, the former Red Sox second baseman, asking if I could have Mo Vaughn call this youngster named Jason Leader. He was in Children's Hospital. He was staying overnight. And could I have Mo call him and wish him happy birthday, because Mo was his favorite player.
I talked to him in the hospital. I said I would try to hit a home run for him.
To center field, Curtis going back. It's hit a long way. It's out of here. A home run for Mo Vaughn. The hit dog crushing that one. Home run number 3 this year.
Hit the home run, and I ran across the plate, and all of a sudden it clicked that I had told him that. You know, all of a sudden he was at the park, and we met and talked, and it became a great thing, and it was to lift his spirits.
The 11-year-old Jason Leader, the hero.
Sadly, Jason Leader passed away a little more than a year later, but not before a friendship had developed.
It's a tiny little church, and all these kids are in the church with the parents, about 9 pews on each side, organ right in the back, and the service is about to start, and here comes Mo Vaughn.
I think that was my longest drive I've ever taken in my life, to get up to his hometown. But we developed a relationship, and it was important to me. I just wanted to be there, and I was lucky enough to be there.
Mo Vaughn has put his talents to work to make himself into a complete baseball player, just as he has used all of his efforts to help make himself and others complete human beings. From A to Z, there have been other Red Sox home run heroes who performed with distinction. Tony Armas, his 43 home runs led the American League in 1984.
Out of here. Yes, it's way gone. Up in the net, it's a grand slam.
Joe Cronin took lazy swings in batting practice, happy to have bat meet ball. As the Red Sox player-manager in 1943, he made himself look clever when he sent himself up to pinch hit. He responded with a record 5 pinch hit home runs, including 2 to win each end of a doubleheader. This prompted always resplendent fellow manager Connie Mack of the Philadelphia A's to inquire, my, what got into Joe? Bobby Doerr was the first second baseman in Major League history to have a 100 RBI season. Doerr drove in 100 runs a total of 6 times, the last in 1950. It would be 25 years before another second baseman would do it again. Bobby Doerr was also an avid movie taker who captured this look at the wall in 1941 and later added his own narration.
This is Fenway Park, and back in those days, Mr. Yockey used to let them put these ads on the left field wall. And as you will notice later on, back in the late 40s, these won't be on the left field wall. He wouldn't allow it to happen. They were just had the wall green.
Walt Dropo was one of the early big muscular right-handed sluggers who smiled at the prospect of taking on the wall. The American League Rookie of the Year in 1950, Dropo socked a team rookie record 34 home runs. Walt Dropo orchestrated another claim to fame well after his playing career was over.
We're going over there to China, and I read an excerpt in Bob Hope had been over there on a troop visiting China, and he took a 9-iron and hit it over the Great Wall of China. And he said, the only golfer that ever hit the ball over the Wall of China. And I said, well, it's very interesting. I'll take a baseball bat, I'll take a ball, and I said, I'll have somebody pitch me a ball, and I'll take a couple swings and hit over the Wall of China. And that's exactly what I did, and it was quite a ceremony, you know, hitting the ball over the Wall of China.
Walt Dropo leads the league in balls hit over both Great Walls. It's a record that may never be broken. Jimmy Foxx was purchased by Red Sox owner Tom Yockey in 1935 from the Philadelphia A's with the hope that he would send his mammoth clouts over Yockey's 2-year-old wall. In 1938, he posted numbers that are truly mind-boggling. 175 runs batted in, 50 home runs, 35 at Fenway Park. Numbers for one season that may be unreachable. While Jimmy Foxx was playing with the Red Sox, he became the first player after Babe Ruth to reach the 500 home run plateau. Jimmy Foxx entered the Hall of Fame wearing a Red Sox cap. Carl Yastrzemski was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1989. His plaque in Cooperstown lists 452 career home runs. With a break, Yaz could have had one more. In late September 1983, shortly before his planned retirement, Yaz hit a home run. There was a good chance that those in attendance were witnessing his last round tripper.
Well, what are you going to say? The man is just great. Everything he does. They're giving him a great standing ovation here. That ball brought the rain, Lauren.
Unfortunately, the rain kept coming and the game was called. And with it, what could have been Carl Yastrzemski's 453rd and last career home run was washed out of the record books. 1968 was the year of the Hawk, and few athletes before or since owned Boston like Ken Harrelson. The Hawk exploded for 35 home runs, was American League Player of the Year, and would have been American League MVP were it not for Detroit pitcher Denny McLain winning 31 games. One day in Cleveland, he was the perfect Ken. After Louis Tiant struck him out in his first at-bat, Harrelson launched 3 home runs in 3 successive at-bats, a first in Red Sox history.
We beat them 7-0 or something like that, and I hit 3 home runs and drove in 7, and I was the most amazed guy in the whole ballpark.
Jackie Jensen had a big-time splurge in June of 1958 when he hit a Red Sox record 14 home runs in 1 month. He topped off the season with 35 and captured the American League MVP award. Fred Lynn and Jim Rice, the Gold Dust twins, came up from Pawtucket together in 1975. Rice had 22 home runs as a rookie, 1 more than Lynn. But nobody could touch Fred Lynn as he became the first player in Major League history to win both the MVP and Rookie of the Year awards. The tip-off that something special was about to happen came on the night of June 18, 1975, in Detroit.
Long drive to right field. That's gone. Upper deck. Home run for Fred Lynn. High fly ball right field. Roberts is just looking up. It's gone. Another home run, and it hits the facade above the upper deck. There's a drive to left field. Going back is Meyer. Going way back there, and it's off the wall. Scoring is Burleson. Yastrzemski rounds third. He'll score. Lynn going in for third will be in there with a triple. There's a long drive to right field. That's gone. 3 homers in the upper deck. Freddie Lynn. 10 runs batted in. 5 hits in 6 at-bats. And Freddie Lynn is having a night that he will never forget.
Roughly 18 inches kept the triple from becoming a record-setting 4th home run.
And the fans here at Fenway are giving McGuire a standing ovation.
One sure way to receive a standing ovation at Fenway Park if you're a visiting player is to hit 3 home runs in a game. But only Joe Carter can say that has twice happened to him. Carter, then of the Cleveland Indians, hit 3 home runs in one game in 1986 and again in 1987.
Joe Carter, his 3rd home run of the night in this game, and he's getting a hand. He deserves it.
Carter claims it's because he sees the writing not on the wall, but over it.
I'm taking batting practice, and I'm sitting behind the cage, and I noticed the sign, the sit-go sign. And Bobby Bonds and I were talking, and it just came up to me. I'm like, well, yeah. I say, I love hitting here. I love to see it go.
Rico Petrocelli was not considered to be a home run hitter early in his career. His greatest claim to fame was that he hit the first Red Sox home run in the Impossible Dream season. But other than that, he had never hit more than 18 home runs in a year. And then in 1969, Petrocelli had 23 home runs at the All-Star break.
That was incredible to me. You know, I never thought I could do it. And then I just kept going.
Of the California running game. There's a drive, left field. Going back is Jennings, and it's gone. Home run.
He ended the season with 40 home runs, an American League record for a shortstop. Rico Petrocelli is the Red Sox all-time leading home run hitter at his position. 19-year-old George Herman Babe Ruth made his major league debut as a pitcher for the Red Sox in July 1914. He was removed from that game for a pinch hitter for the first and last time. As teammate Harry Hooper noted, George was no different than any other 19-year-old except for 2 things. He could eat more and hit a baseball further. Ruth became a constant in the lineup as a pitcher and an outfielder. By 1918, his 11 home runs topped the American League. The next year, Ruth tallied 29 round-trippers. His fellow Red Sox teammates, only 4. Babe Ruth of the Red Sox was established as the game's first great home run hitter before he went on to the New York Yankees. A few seconds. That's all it takes for the Green Monster to change the complexion of a game at Fenway Park. A 23-foot screen is perched atop the monster to provide a safe landing for home run balls and protect the businesses on Lansdowne Street, at least most of the time. George Scott used the field from foul line to foul line as well as any player in Red Sox history. Defensively, he was a work of art at third, but was even more of a pleasure to watch at first, where he became the best defensive first baseman in Sox history. At the plate, the Boomer sliced a surprising number of home runs to the opposite field.
Going back, it's a grand slam homer for George Scott.
Uh-oh.
As a rookie in 1966, George Scott was the first in these parts to call a home run a tater. The word survives to this day, and there are many other entries in the baseball lingo dictionary.
Well, they didn't call them taters.
Moonshot.
Nothing about moonshots because they weren't talking about moons then, were they?
Para la calle, it's like I'm going on the street.
They just say, boy, he really ripped that one.
I'd like to go deep.
Long ball, bombs, stingers.
Long gone.
Gopher balls, bombs. Everybody stands off the bench and yells, clear.
Call him a home run. And I think that hasn't changed in a long time.
The '77 Red Sox team had its own definition for home run, early and often. They are the most productive home run hitting team in Red Sox history.
Everyone was hitting the ball. Freddie was hitting the ball. I was hitting the ball.
Scott, Evans, Fisk, Burleson, Rice.
The ads were hitting the ball.
Butch Hobson was hitting ninth and hit over 30 home runs. It was just kind of expected, and you really didn't think anything about it.
And Bernie Carbo made his contributions coming off the bench with his curious inside-out swing.
Here's a drive left field, and guess what? A home run. Another homer for Carbo.
They faced Yankee pitcher Catfish Hunter in the first game of a weekend series and chased him with a team record 4 first-inning home runs. Later, Yaz and Carlton Fisk added 2 more for a first-game total of 6. Game 2 on Saturday. The Red Sox walloped 5 more. By Sunday, the crowd couldn't get enough.
What a weekend for the Red Sox. 9-4 Friday, 10-4 yesterday, leading 10-1 today. Here's another great drive, way back, it's gone.
George Scott's home run was the 4th of the day and the 15th against the Yankees. For the Fenway faithful, the 3-game series known as the Boston Massacre had come to a close, but the home run barrage had not. It continued in Baltimore, where the Sox pounded Palmer and the Orioles 5 more times. The Red Sox went on to New York, where they took more batting practice against Catfish Hunter. All told, they hit 33 home runs in 10 games. And there was more. The 4th of July, 1977. The Red Sox exploded for a team record 8 home runs in 1 game.
Goes another one. Look at it. It's out of here in the bleachers. Here it goes. Number 4. This is number 4 this inning.
By the end of the 1977 season, the Red Sox had set a team record with 213 home runs. Vern Jr. Stevens was a rare power-hitting shortstop and an important part of a power-packed lineup that featured table setters Johnny Pesky and Dom DiMaggio, with Stevens, Williams, Dorr, and Dropo to drive them in. Stevens averaged 33 home runs over 3 seasons with the Red Sox and could have hit a lot more. His nickname Wrong Way says it all for his tendency to hook balls just inches outside the foul pole. Dick Stewart was with the Red Sox in 1963 and 1964. To his fans, those 2 years seemed like an era because everything he did, from his batting stride to his 75 home runs, was big. It is ironic, then, that his shortest home run may be the only one of its kind in Fenway Park history.
Dick Stewart, who had many memorable home runs here, hit probably one of the most enjoyable ones so I was probably he was one of the few guys in the team that I could beat in a foot race.
Vic Davalillo is a center fielder, and Dick hit a ball high off the wall, and Davalillo wore the hard helmet. And of course, the left fielder went across this way like the ball was going to go towards center field, and they were deep in the left center, and the ball came off the wall and hit Davalillo in the head, and it rolled all the way to the foul line here in left field across the line.
And Stewart had himself an inside the park home run, something that if you knew Dick Stewart and saw him play, you would find that hard to believe. We always thought that the only place that he had a chance to hit an inside the park home run was probably Yellowstone, but he did it here in one of the smaller parks.
Big Stu's inside the park home run is believed to be the only one at Fenway ever to be hit off the left field part of the Green Monster. In the 1950s, Jimmy Pearsall hit a more typical inside-the-park home run. The ball hit the deep center or right field results in a fielding miscue. Runners round the bases like they are part of a pinball machine. And ball and player make a mad dash for the plate.
The wall and behind Kelly. Greenwell's he's trying for an inside the park home run. He makes it.
Mike Greenwell had another inside the park home run, and oddly his second off Yankee pitcher Greg Cadaret.
Boggs scores. Here comes Burks. The ball gets by in right field, and 3 runs score. And here comes the runner, Greenwell, with an inside the park home run.
But we're in the front row. The next thing we know, we see Greenwell rounding third, coming home, and he stood up, which is even more incredible. An inside the park grand slam homer standing. You don't see that every day.
Finally, the Z-Man, Norm Zouchin, who creamed 27 homers in his 1955 rookie season, including 3 in one game. He subsequently confirmed what everyone feared. For one glorious year, Fenway Park had made him a home run hero. The monster can do that.
You know, if you went to Walla Walla, Washington, or Dubuque, Iowa, or Tallahassee, Florida, and you said Fenway Park, what would be the association? I think 99% of the people would say wall, monster.
Welcome to the belly of the Green Monster. It's a creepy place that is totally lacking in creature comforts. This is a 4-eyed monster with 2 brains pumping away, furiously sending out secretly coded messages.
That's the deep right. Buhner retreating. Buhner at the wall. Gone. Home run, 3-run homer for Troy O'Leary.
Yellow numbers signify runs are being scored right here, right now. They will later be changed to white when the half inning is history.
Bragg goes again, rips one to deep left. That one's heading for the screen. Home run.
Third out, inning over. The scoreboard gets an update.
Hello? Okay.
Once the game comes to an end, the day at Fenway Park is done. The fans, ball players, broadcasters, concession workers, and grounds crew all head home, leaving the Green Monster with only the echoes of days gone by to keep it company. If only it could talk, what tales it could tell. Some ball players are remembered for how many home runs they hit, and others for when they hit them. Nothing can match what the ball players call a walk-off, a game-winning, game-ending home run.
And that's all she wrote.
Pennant-winning Red Sox seasons received their kickstart from some early season home run heroics. A Tony Conigliaro home run in 1967 started the impossible dream bandwagon. Fred Lynn's night to remember in Detroit started a season to remember in 1975. Dwight Evans right off the bat in 1986.
We are ready for the first pitch of the '86 season, and here it is. Long drive, left center field. Way back, left center, and gone. Home run, Dwight Evans.
Kevin Romine launched Morgan Magic in 1988.
He goes deep, left field, high into the air. Game's over. Home run, Kevin Romine. Red Sox win it 7-6.
And in 1995, Troy O'Leary unloaded with a come-from-behind game-winning home run.
In the air, left field. Bragg retreating, looking up, home run!
As exciting as walk-offs are, most fans don't recall whose home run started the pennant year, but they do remember who hit them near the end. One of Ted Williams' claims to fame is that he could muscle the ball out of any ballpark. So it is ironic that his most significant Red Sox game-winning home run was his shortest. On Friday, September 13, 1946, in Cleveland's League Park, Williams went against Lou Boudreau's shift and hit a ball over the head of the pulled-in left fielder. He loped around the bases and slid into home with the only run in a 1-0 game. Later that night, the Red Sox learned a Detroit loss had clinched the pennant for them, and they hoisted manager Joe Cronin to their shoulders. The Red Sox were one loss away from elimination in Game 6 of the 1975 World Series against the Cincinnati Reds. Fred Lynn put the Sox up with an early 3-run homer.
Yastrzemski's at second, Fisk at first, 2 down, bottom of the first inning. And there's a high fly ball deep to right field. Going back, Griffey, forget it. It's gone.
The Big Red Machine charged back and took the lead 6-3. With 2 men on base, Red Sox pinch hitter Bernie Carbo stepped up to the plate in the 8th inning. The Reds were 4 outs away from winning the World Series.
Bernie had maybe the worst swing that anybody's ever seen in the whole game of baseball.
Just did get a piece of it to stay alive. You talk about fighting off a good pitch.
Looked like he hit that out of the catcher's glove.
He did. That's the kind, boy, if you get a foul ball, you're really happy you did your job. Deep center field, way back, way back. We're tied up.
The score remained tied as Carlton Fisk led off in the bottom of the 12th.
When I went on the on-deck circle, Fred Lynn was there with me. And it felt a little special. I don't know, it's one of those moments you can't ever really explain, but it did feel special because I told Fred, I said, Freddie, something good's going to happen here.
Been retired once tonight on a bouncing ball to short in the 7th.
So I took that thought, that good, positive feeling for the moment, up to the plate, and
There it goes, a long drive. If it stays fair, home run.
Fisk ended what may be the greatest game ever played. His jump for joy is the ultimate shot of the ultimate shot heard around New England. It was and is a very special moment.
We will have a 7th game.
Game 5 of the 1986 American League Championship Series. The California Angels take the lead in the 6th with some help from one that just got away from Dave Henderson. A Don Baylor home run pulls the Sox within 1 in the 9th when Henderson returns to the spotlight with the Angels 1 out away from going to the World Series. Donnie Moore is on the mound for California. Rich Gedman is the runner on first for the Red Sox.
1 and 2.
The crowd reaction was deafening. It was so loud, I remember that. My ears were really hurting.
2 and 2. Fastball.
It was a game filled with just so much emotion because at one point we're losing the ball game and you're thinking, well, the season's over.
Still 2 and 2.
You can see all the police standing in front of you, all the guards, and we're trying to look in between their legs and watch David hit.
The 2-2 pitch. Stays alive.
I was right down by the dugout because we were going to go on live outside the locker room immediately after. The Sox were going to be eliminated, and it was going to be a pretty ugly scene for myself, have to interview the Red Sox players just getting eliminated by the California Angels.
To left field and deep and down he goes back and it's gone! Unbelievable!
Your heart's pumping again, your adrenaline. I'm hugging oil can. I'm telling him, you know, once we get back home, let's get through game 6. You got game 6, get game 6, and get me game 7, and we'll get it done.
All these policemen and guards started filing out of the dugout. We took our positions back on the seat, and the crowd quieted down, and you could hear a pin drop in that stadium.
With one swing of the bat, the fortunes of the team, New England, and myself changed. That ball went over the fence.
That made the series 3-2 in favor of the Angels. They came back here and they were like mincemeat. They couldn't perform. I heard half of them weren't packed. They just planned on winning that game, and then we can go on to the World Series, which I don't want to talk about.
And that's all she wrote!
Wilfred Lefebvre graduated from the College of the Holy Cross in Worcester, Massachusetts on June 9, 1938. The next morning, lefty Lefebvre signed a contract to pitch for the Boston Red Sox. He was in uniform that afternoon.
I'm sitting in the dugout, really happy to be just in a dugout right there with the Red Sox, with Jimmy Fox, Bobby Doerr, Joe Cronin, Lefty Grove, all the guys that went up to the Hall of Fame right now. In the 6th inning, Cronin leaned over and he said, "Lefebvre, go warm up." I said, "Who, me?" He said, "Yeah, hurry up and get out there." Gee, I went out to the bullpen, and Mo Berg was the bullpen catcher. And I said, "Do you think they're going to put me in? This is my first day." He said, "Just like pitching at Holy Cross, kid, don't worry about it." So I walked in from the bullpen, my knees are going like this, you know. And the first pitch I threw in the big leagues, I hit Mike Krivich right in the neck. You can see the ball bouncing off his neck. And how fast I was throwing, probably 45 miles an hour, because I was so nervous. He just got up and rubbed a couple of times and ran to first base.
With the game out of reach, Lefebvre got his first major league at bat.
I walked up to the plate, and the first pitch, I'm a left-hand hitter, high outside, and I swung. And as soon as I hit that ball, I knew I was going to hit the wall. And I ran around first base because I was going to go for 2. So I went into second base, and the ball, in those days, they didn't have a screen out there. They had horns to announce the batting order and all that. And it hit in the horns, and that's an automatic home run. But I don't know the ground rules, see? And the ball fell down, and Krivich in left field, he's taking his time. He knows it's a home run. And I'm saying to myself, he's not hustling, I'm going for 3. And I went sliding into third base. Bill McGowan's the umpire. He said, "Hey, kid, come on in here for crying out, it's a home run." I didn't know.
For lefty Lefebvre, it was his first and last major league home run. Eddie Pellegrini, the son of a tailor from the Dorchester section of Boston, also dreamed of hitting a home run for his favorite team.
I used to dream about playing with the Red Sox, you know, and the bases would be loaded, and the Yankees would be ahead like 3-0. And if I hit a home run here, we win 4-3 in my hometown, and boy, I always hit that home run. And little did I know that one day I'd do something similar to that.
On April 22nd, 1946, Eddie Pellegrini was sitting on the Red Sox bench when misfortune literally struck Johnny Pesky.
It happened right here in this ballpark. Sid Hudson hit me with a fastball, and instead of getting hit in the front of the head, I got hit, just turned and got hit there, and down I go. And of course, I was all right. I was going to get up and walk off, but they tell me the ball went in the stands. I don't know. So Pelly took my place.
And I walked up to the plate, and it's my hometown, you know. And, you know, the people, naturally, hometown boy. And I walked up the plate, and I had 2 strikes on me real quickly. And the next pitch was about that far outside, and I've been called out on worse pitches than that. The catcher was an old veteran, Al Evans. He says, "Hey, how can you take a ball that close?" I said, "Good eye." The next pitch, I hit the ball, and I just hit it good. And I didn't know where it went. I started running around first and second, and Cronin was down there at third, and he meets me up the line, and I don't know, I must have hit a home run, I guess. He gave me a shake, I almost pulled him across home plate. And I walked in that dugout over there, my first time at bat, the home run won the game, you know. And they gave me the silent treatment. Did you ever hear of the silent treatment? A rookie. And I said, what the hell kind of a team is this? I said, here I am, hit a home run to win the ball game, and I guess they're jealous of me already.
Eddie Pellegrini would hit 19 more home runs in a 7-year Major League career. After hitting a first or infrequent home run, a player is often given baseball's good-natured welcome mat, otherwise known as the silent treatment.
It looks like he's getting the silent treatment from those Red Sox players on the bench.
If there really is such a thing as the perfect Fenway Park swing, then Tony Conigliaro had it. His Major League debut came on the road before he would step up to the plate for the first time at Fenway Park on opening day 1964.
Tony was a very cocky kid, and told a lot of the people, the reporters, the news media, that he couldn't wait to get to Fenway and see what he could do with the wall. And sure enough, first time up.
2 down, nobody on. Tony had a single yesterday. There's a drive by Conigliaro, and it is out of here. What a bomb he is. Conigliaro hits a home run, his first time at bat at Fenway Park. Boy, he really hit that one. This kid's got great power. And he gets a tremendous hand. What a thrill that must be for a 19-year-old boy who a year ago was playing high school baseball. Look at that smile on his face. Look at that smile.
What a thrill that must have been to him. To grow up here, a Red Sox fan, a little boy, on in the junior high and high school, and most of the Red Sox were his heroes. And then he finally made it here with the Red Sox, and then to come into Fenway Park with all of his family there, and then hit the home run his first time up in the majors. I can't imagine how thrilling it was for him and how self-satisfying it was.
He lived in Swampscott, and I grew up in Swampscott. I can remember it was April vacation, 1964. We were all playing basketball in my parents' backyard. When he came to the plate, the game stopped, and we all huddled around the transistor radio. And when he hit that home run off Joe Horland, we just erupted. Now, up to that point, you didn't know anybody who hit a home run over the wall. But we knew this guy, and we were connected to the wall through Tony C. And all of a sudden, we said, hey, if a guy that lives a couple blocks away, grew up right here in New England, can do it, maybe we can do it someday.
Because he was handsome, confident, a home run hitter, and one of us, Tony C., still a teenager, became a teenage idol. By his 20th birthday, he led the American League in home runs. At 22, he became the youngest player in American League history to hit 100 home runs.
There it is. See you later. Going. Look at that ball off the light tower. Over the screen and everything at left field. Boy, did he hit that one.
And then, in 1967, in the heat of the pennant race, he took a fastball in the face, stilling the perfect right-hand swing, causing him severe eye damage and sinking thousands of hearts throughout New England, undoubtedly none more so than his family's. He watched the 1967 World Series from the bench, and during 1968 spring training struggled valiantly but had to pass on the entire season. He returned to spring training in 1969, intent on becoming a pitcher, as he discussed with the dean of Boston sportscasters, Don Gillis.
How about pitching now? Will this affect you as a pitcher?
I don't know what I'm going to do about that. The only problem I think I would have is the line drive hit back through the middle. I have to be very alert on that. I'd always have to have a good follow-through and keep my glove up to protect myself. But I think I can see the general area of the plate. I can see the glove. I can't see the glove very clearly, but I believe I could pitch if I wanted to.
Will you ever be happy if you don't make it in baseball in some way, as either a coach or a manager or a pitcher or something?
No.
Somehow, miraculously, his eyesight improved, and on opening day of the 1969 season in Baltimore, Tony Conigliaro stepped up to the plate, not as a pitcher, but as an everyday player.
Drive to left center, Blair's back, and it is home run for Conigliaro. Tony Conigliaro has hit a 2-run home run in the 10th inning, and the Red Sox take a 4-2 lead. Oh, boy, what a story. What a story here. And look at him. Look at that boy as he's going into that dugout.
Among those greeting him in uniform for his first Major League game, number 4, his brother Billy.
Tony C's comeback year, everyone was nervous for him. We were in Baltimore. It was opening day, and it was just like a movie. I mean, Billy C got to see his brother making a great comeback, and bang, he hits a home run to left field. It was a real shot into the bleachers, and the dugout went crazy for him. Everybody ran out in the field and slapped him on the back. I was really happy for Tony. That was a big, big home run for him. And that whole year was fantastic for Tony. Went on to hit 20 home runs, knocked in about 80 runs, and that was the beginning of the comeback, and maybe one of the best comebacks of all time.
Tony whacked a career-high 36 home runs in 1970, a season followed by more change, a trade to the Angels, recurring eye problems, and retirement midway through the 1971 season. After 3.5 years out of baseball, Tony Conigliaro was back in a Red Sox uniform for the start of the 1975 season. He was doing what he does best, making a comeback and hitting home runs.
First home run for Tony C. since his comeback.
The perfect Fenway Park home run swing would have only one more home run in it. In a career that was too short in baseball years, but long enough to span the black and white and color television eras, Tony C. hit his first home run after his first comeback, and his first home run after his second comeback. You're only supposed to hit your first home run once, but Tony Conigliaro had successfully overcome more adversity than any person should by the age of 30. Sadly, we'll never know what could have been, only what was. Between them, Billy and Tony Conigliaro combined for 195 home runs in a Red Sox uniform. Billy hit 33, Tony 162. The Conigliaros are the leading home run hitting brothers in Red Sox history. There is no precise way of measuring the distance of the longest home run ever hit at Fenway Park, but one red seat in a sea of green ones may provide the answer.
And that's all she wrote.
Fenway Park means green grass and long blasts that go on forever. The Red Sox use a grid to calculate distances within the ballpark, but once balls go over the monster, nobody really knows for sure how far really is.
It's a tough one. Jim Rice has hit a few that are still going. They claim one of his home runs was landed on the Mass Turnpike.
Let's say Mr. Rice might turn it loose.
Yep, he does. Way back. Forget this one, baby. That is way gone and hard to find home run.
Probably the longest ball I ever saw hit here was from a young fellow from Yazoo City, Mississippi by the name of Jerry Moses. He hit it onto the Mass Pike, and the reason we knew that, a fellow was walking over the Kenmore Square Bridge and saw it and went down and got it and brought it back, and he picked it up on the Mass Pike. And Jerry hit that home run in 1965 when Lyndon Johnson was president. He hit his next one when Nixon was president in '69. That was his second one.
That happened to me one particular time where they were listening to the game, and they were on the Mass Pike, and they heard the home run, and then they saw this ball bounce.
High drive, left field. Forget it. Over everything for a home run.
I have a strange feeling it didn't hit in the air on the Mass Pike.
I wonder how many times people are really out there measuring how far it goes.
Uh-oh. Look out, Chicopee again. On the roof across the street.
At one time, the flagpole was on the field and in play. Red Sox player Dick Gernert ran a double up the flagpole in the early 50s. Only 6 balls were hit out of the ballpark to the right of the flagpole, the most recent by Jim Rice in 1975. A retaining wall was added behind the center field bleachers in 1976. If its function is to retain balls, it's doing its job, because no player has ever lofted a ball over it, although several have come close.
A home run by Jimmy Rice off the bleacher wall. Evans hits a drive deep to center field. Forget it. It's gone.
Long drive by Jackson. That's going to bring rain, hail, and sleet way off the top of that board near the flagpole. Almost entirely out of Fenway on the backboard, which is a lot higher than it used to be.
Wow. A ball has yet to leave Fenway's friendly confines over the right field roof. The closest came in 1977, when Carl Yastrzemski, trust us, almost took the short route out against the Yankees during the Boston Massacre weekend.
If I got up a little higher, maybe pull it a little more, it would have gone out of the ballpark. I think that was my longest home run there at Fenway.
The probable champion of all monster smashes occurred on June 6, 1946, when Ted Williams strode to the plate in a game against the Detroit Tigers.
How about the day you hit one off Freddie Hutchinson? You made him so mad.
Well, he was kind of a hot-tempered fella anyway, Freddie, and a great fella, and he came into Fenway, and apparently he'd been having a little bit of trouble anyway, and he came in here, and the wind was really blowing out into right field.
Williams, when he hit a ball, it just seemed like you could see the ball project. You know, the ball would just shoot out like it was coming out of a bazooka.
And that ball just kept going.
There was no telling how far it would go.
And I remember it went up 38 rows in the right field.
You think it was out of a can?
I don't think a ball's ever been hit any further in right field since I've been here than 38 rows. And the reason I know it was the 38 rows is because he took a picture of probably a guy in a straw hat up there and broke his straw hat.
Joseph Boucher was sitting 502 feet from home plate, never expecting the ball that broke the straw hat.
The wind had to be blown out, that's all I know.
No one ever hit that red seat. I've been up there and no one will ever hit it.
Mo Vaughn, who's a very, very strong hitter also, he might hit one in that area one of these days.
You know, I've hit some balls very, very well here, and they didn't even come close to that red seat, so that won't even be touched.
To put the Ted Williams red seat home run in perspective, consider these.
Plays Mo to pull. And he hits that high in the air toward the triangle. Martinez watching it go. A tremendous home run by Mo Vaughn.
High drive, right field. Lescano is back, way back, and it's gone in the bleachers for a home run.
Mo Vaughn's home run traveled 468 feet. Carl Yastrzemski's was airborne for 472 feet. Ted Williams' red seat home run, 502 feet from home plate. It remains the Fenway Park long-distance home run champion. Home runs are flawless, and they are final. They are baseball's way of saying you can't do any better than that. And a Red Sox home run, one soaring over the green monster, paints a perfect picture in our mind. One that is flawless, final, and forever.
No one knows just when it got its name, but there's a monster at Fenway and sure has earned its fame. That walk can give and the walk can take away. It'll break your heart or it'll make your day. That's all she wrote. That's a swinging, and you know that this one's gone. You'll lose it in the lights. It's a moonshot. That ball's a bomb. The green monster is 37 feet tall, and they rip, rock, and sock away. It's a long ball, and that's all she wrote. Oh yeah, it's famous, but is it friend or foe? That green monster's greener than Williamsburg or Pesky's Bowl. Not any player who gets up to swing at that can rifle past the monster with every whack.
Here's the pitch. Williams swing, and there's a long drive to two right. He's gonna
From the bullpen to the bleachers, or from your living room, that green monster reaches from the ballpark to the moon. In 1912, its fate began an opening day. The wall has been the one to beat at Fenway. And that's all she wrote. Now there are players that no one can forget. Those home run heroes, the airborne cadets. There's Yastrzemski and Williams, Canigliaro and Vaughn. Those heavy hitting wonders, and the list goes on.
Of course, I think that's the greatest accomplishment in sports, when you hit the home run.
It felt a little special. I don't know, it's one of those moments you can't ever really explain.
All that work you've done in the batting cage has all come together and worked for that one time.
And that's all.